This is a Fox News alert. Nancy Pelosi condemns the separation of church and state.
Let's follow the lead of the National Catholic Conference of Bishops who talked about the baby Jesus escaping violence as an infant, who talked about sending children back into the circumstances you described as sending children back into a burning building. So it's not just about having a heart, it's about having a soul. And the soul of our country is about respecting the dignity and worth of every person.
Well, in that case, I have no heart and no soul. I hate children, especially babies. They're just hairless cats with thumbs. I'm glad I got that out of the way, because that's what pro-amnesty types imply about anyone who favors legal over illegal immigration. Starts with Obama, trickles down to Pelosi, and then the media laps it up. The gimmick is meant to silence you through fear of personal attack. You don't want these children with their teddy bears? You are Satan. No, you're worse than Satan. You're a Republican. Compassion is often code for its opposite, creating policies that harm those they're meant to help. Dependence on government is compassionate, while fostering opportunity is not. Letting the mentally ill roam the streets is compassionate, while hospitalization is not. Forcing poor kids into bad public schools is compassionate, while charter schools where they'd excel is not. So what is compassion? Nancy Pelosi said that deportation would be like sending kids into burning buildings. If so, then why not help put those fires out? Why not export values that create better lives in awesome countries like ours? But that's not what the amnesty preachers want. In their odd world, everyone should come here, but the very thing they're coming for, our way of life, shouldn't be inflicted on others. It's an equation that preserves pain beyond our borders as it rattles what's left of our own. But what do I know? I hate babies. I just hate some babies. Hey, Bob, Nancy Pelosi teaching compassion is like you teaching restraint. Is deportation of illegals unchristian?
Well, first of all, I don't usually talk to Satan, but I'll talk to you here for a second. I think she's hit on a point that is frankly, not a bad sales point, to be honest with you. I mean, if you try to give as much emotion around this as you possibly can, and it is kids, and it is very difficult to take what would be perceived as punitive action against kids. Ted Cruz is trying to do that in the Senate. The House Republican bill is rife with it. And so we'll keep going with it, Satan.
Okay. So, Eric, but he just admitted they're using children as pawns.
Yeah. And you're right, Bob. That's the way you do it on the left. You just use the kids and say, if you're against the kids, you're evil, you're horrible. Regarding the Christianity part, Nancy Pelosi, we're taught to be Christian-like in your personal being. Not everyone. Not saying everyone has to be Christian. I mean, that would be like Islam. If you're not Islam, if you're not with us, we're going to kill you. You're against us. Christians believe you want to be compassionate, be compassionate. Nancy, you want to be, $250 million? You want to spend some of that? Knock yourself out. Adopt a few Mexican babies. That'd be fantastic. Do it for yourself. But don't tell everyone else to. We don't want to adopt Mexican babies. I have a 15-year-old. I don't want to adopt any more babies. So here's the issue. At risk of getting even more death threats than I've been getting.
But you mean any babies?
I think, what?
You mean any babies?
Okay, Mexican, Canadian.
Honduran.
Thank you, Honduran. Right, correct. Okay.
Beanie
You don't want to adopt
But I will tell you,
80%
of all illegals coming over are coming through the Mexican border, and likely Mexican. I'm just saying that. Anyway, so getting back to my death threats, I do suggest increasing legal immigration, quadrupling it. Go ahead, knock yourself out. People hate hearing that, making it faster, because we can use low-cost labor in this country. We can use 4 or 5 million more people a year into our economy. That's what killed Japan, was this declining birth rate, and no one was coming to Japan. Bring it. I think it's a great idea. I welcome that.
Okay, to follow up on what he's saying, why should we be preached to say you're not a good Christian unless you support amnesty and breaking the law? There is a way to do this, because it's been done for years and years by people lawfully who respect the rules and laws of this country. They want to come in, they want to work hard, they want to raise their families, they want to be able to have the choices to go to a public school or a charter school or do something and provide for future generations. So I think you're also saying let's take care of who we have here. Let's provide a legal path to citizenship that everybody adheres to, because we have plenty of babies here that need good schools and education and have illnesses and developmental problems that all have issues that we need to address as American citizens. Fair?
Fair.
Yeah. Dana, isn't it? But it is hypocritical at its heart because you have people like Pelosi who always talk about the separation of church and state.
Yeah.
Only.
How did you know what I was going to say?
I don't know because I read your notes.
That's impressive because I could barely read them myself. But I wanted this Nancy Pelosi yesterday. We played the clip of her from CNN when she was talking to Candy Crowley, in which she compassionately called Hamas a humanitarian organization.
Yeah.
Right? And then she was pressed on whether it was a terrorist organization, and she said, and it was not as equivocal as it is this. Just 2 weeks ago, when the Supreme Court, SCOTUS, when Supreme Court announced the Hobby Lobby decision, the left was saying that small business owners do not have a right to practice their religion. They do not have a right to bring their beliefs into a policy arena. But that is what she is trying to do today. I understand the appeal to Christians, and I think that a lot of people share it. In fact, in the Gallup poll today, or it was AP poll, 62% of people said that they are for sending the children back. I don't think that is out of frustration and anger or being Satan or being mean. I think it is out of compassion, because the better place for these children is not languishing for years waiting for hearings. It is to go back, to be reunited with their families, and then to have some sort of a better legal process to allow them to come into the country.
If I could just make one point, I hear from most conservatives and most Republicans the word law. They break the law by doing this. And it is true, in fact, that the law has been broken. But also, there are hundreds of thousands of U.S. businessmen who break the law every year by hiring them. Do I hear one peep out of the Republicans or the conservatives about that? I do not. Has anybody said, no.
That's what E-Verify is all about.
I'd like to see somebody. Show me some perp walk that says a businessman.
No, but as Dana points out, E-Verify requires you to make sure that you're paying a legal immigrant.
Which means a lot of them are not doing it, right?
Okay, but look.
So why don't you arrest them?
And both.
Well, Bob, here, can I just, just here, look. Colorado legalized pot, right? That's breaking the law, a federal law, right?
What does that have to do with what I just said?
Because the point you're trying to make is, okay, so it happens over here, so we're supposed to look the other way on all illegal immigrants. Just because some people hire them and you don't go after the corporations. You got to stop it. You got to stop it from the corporate side. You got to stop it from the border side.
And we're going to talk about it in the
It's all in the body. It's all in the body of the legislation on immigration. So why do we not arrest some businessmen?
Let's arrest them. But first, you know what I feel like? I feel like listening to Charles Krauthammer talking about perhaps
Thank God.
President Obama's next move on immigration and whether he's going to grant it full, I guess, unilateral legalization of 5 million or so.
There are reports from the White House that he's going to do something by executive order about immigration. If he were to do something like legalize half, which is what's been talked about, huge numbers of illegal immigrants, it would be an impeachable offense. I would be 100% against impeachment because it's political suicide, but it really would be the basis for that. That's what I think the White House may actually be softening people up for. An executive order that reaches impeachable offense, but it's it's like a preemptive strike.
So there's a lot of things he touches on there, but I want to know, why is he doing this now during the border crisis, and how exactly would this work? And is this all about the midterms? That's 3 questions.
That's a lot of questions.
She can do it.
Yes. Where do I start? Let's see. President Obama, I think, is trying to do this because, remember what Rahm Emanuel said? Never let a crisis pass you by. Use it as an opportunity to do something. However, it was the White House, it was President Obama who said we do have a humanitarian crisis on our border and something needs to be done. Now he doesn't even back the original bill that he put forward, which was a $3.7 billion bill. There's one today that's a $4 billion clean one without any reforms. I do think that he's stepping over a line because you had Democrats, Kagan and Pryor, 2 red state Democrats, or they're in tough races, saying to the White House today, please ease off, because they know that the American people aren't quite there. I think the president actually is being very unpersuasive as to why something like this. If they're floating this trial balloon out there, they're going to have a lot of catching up to do to try to convince people that it's the right thing. I'm not saying it won't. Maybe they'll succeed, but right now they're way behind.
What are there, 60 or 70,000 kids down there now? Is that right?
50 cents, yeah.
Okay, if I were Obama, the thing I would do is I'd tell the Justice Department to get 60 or 70,000 businessmen who hire these people and throw them into jail.
Oh
and
my
then
God.
say, okay, now why do you find that
Are you
funny?
going to say
Why
that in every
you're willing to defend anybody in the capitalist system, even if they're breaking the law.
Yes, break the law, go to jail. I agree.
They should go to jail. They don't go to jail.
Okay, let's move on. Now
you can understand why people are so confused because within the last 3 weeks, Bob, you had said that you thought that the children should be sent back. Then all of a sudden, when the politics got a little bit crazy, all the Democrats started saying, no, we can't send them back. I mean, I admire the lockstep decision-making, but you can understand why the American people are confused.
If I had said that they all ought to be sent back, then I made a terrible mistake, and I withdraw it. But you still haven't answered my question. There's not one businessman. Wait a minute. Will you answer the question? You want to keep dumping on Democrats? Where are the businessmen who are in jail?
Why hasn't Holder done anything about it?
He should.
It's been 6 years.
That's what I said.
It's your fault. It's Obama's fault that no one has been.
I would take for every kid. I arrest a businessman per block.
That's a great solution.
You want to handle all those business guys in white man's capitalist system.
And no one will have jobs.
Yes.
And their solution will be soluble.
Why, Demi? You think they should break the law then?
Bob, so what are you suggesting? You're suggesting all the illegals come over, no one hires them, and they just go on the government dole and use our health care system.
So you wouldn't allow people to break the law?
No, what I would say is I think you're right. If you break the law, whether you're a business or someone coming over, you get fined or you get punished for it.
Is anybody not saying that here?
Make them legal, Bob. Make them legal immigrants so we can follow them, we can tax them, we can provide them with the things that they need, but they're paying us back for it.
Hey, I want to...
And fingerprint them.
I want to ask Kimberly...
How about businessmen?
I want to know who we have
the
here.
evil businessmen. They're Satan. Okay, we get it, Bob.
Got it.
Charles Krauthammer made an interesting point. He said the White House talked of impeachment early on as a preemptive strike so he could make this executive order. Do you think is that clever?
Do I think the president is that clever?
That is clever.
I think,
well, Charles is very clever.
Charles might be more clever.
Yes, I could listen to a whole A block of sound of Charles Krauthammer.
He will.
With respect, please. With respect to the president, I think he's that political. We didn't listen to a whole block.
No, we listened
like 11
to
minutes.
you scream at people.
By the way, I need the miracle ear again for Christmas because you are so loud today. Right?
And you yelled at me. I agree with you.
Yelled at bowling, and we're all
And it's
saying
an interesting angle.
jail.
Krauthammer's angle is an interesting one that they thought so far ahead to say we're going to do this impeachment thing so we can get. I'm not sure they're that clever, but maybe they are. However, we spent an entire day yesterday as Republicans trying to smother the idea of impeachment, just to blow blow on the embers so that they flame up again.
So are we suggesting that the White House floated the idea of impeachment so the right pushed back so hard and said no, we would never do that, so then they can do the
now they can't do it.
Use the executive pen and the right.
You know who'd be smart enough to do that? Karl Rove.
It's like a John Grisham novel. I don't know.
But he can make that executive decision, right? The legal people say that there's not much you can do about it.
I'm not sure.
I
don't think it would be an impeachable offense. I don't think. Although Charles would know best.
All right.